guys, Mixer, and in today's video we are back with the Yamaha Breeze. And as you guys know from the last video I did with this quad, I put the engine back together after rebuilding it because it bent a valve after I over revved it. And while rebuilding it, I replaced the valves obviously, and I also replaced the piston rings. And after I put everything back together, it took forever for this thing to fire up. And when it did run, it ran awful. And I couldn't narrow down the issue of what was going on, so I brought it to you guys. And a lot of you guys commented some really helpful comments, and that's what we're going to be trying today. So a lot of you guys seem to agree on the same stuff. And for the most part, a lot of you guys said that the issue was the timing. And I could have sworn that I got the timing right, but a lot of you guys said that it was 180 degrees wrong. So I need to go ahead and rotate that today. And if that's the issue, then that would be awesome. But if we need to take back apart the engine because I did something wrong, which I don't really think I did because I've done a lot of top end rebuilds in the past, never had any issues, but this one is giving me a lot. But I guess we'll just see what will happen. So I need to go ahead and take off the gas tank and the seat and everything so I can access the top of the engine. I'm pretty sure I didn't bolt it down from last time because I figured I might need to do it again. So I'm just going to pull these off real quick so we can access the camshaft and everything. And we'll pull off the covers and adjust it to hopefully the correct time. So I have the cam cover off and everything like that, and I just rotated the engine to top dead center, so now I can go ahead and carefully remove the cam and rotate it 180 degrees to try and correct it. And I guess we'll see if it spins over freely, and if it does, then it should be timed right. And if I hear anything touching, like a valve hitting the piston, then we gotta start from phase one. I just finished up rotating the cam gear 180 degrees, and I think this actually might do it. So before I made a little mark, before I even rotated it 180 degrees from like the OEM marking right there, and I rotated it to that little marking that I made, and then just now I just put the dot to the OEM. I don't know why I'm saying OEM, like where it's supposed to be, and those are lined up perfectly. And if you come over here, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it, but both of the valves are closed. Yeah, you guys are definitely not gonna be able to see it, but we're at top dead center and both of the valves are closed, and that is perfect. And turning it over, I don't hear any like bangs or anything from the valves to the piston, so that is good as well. So I guess I could just go ahead and throw back on the covers, retension up the timing chain. And then after that, I'm just gonna pop on the gas tank real quick so the carb has fuel obviously, and then hook up the battery, and I guess we can see if it will work. Alrighty guys, so the Yamaha is ready to fire up. I'm just gonna turn on the fuel right now quick, let it flow into the carburetor, but yep, we got power. This battery should have enough voltage to crank it up, but I guess cross your fingers and hopefully this works. Alrighty guys, here we go. Attempt one with the new timing. Hopefully it runs. Ooh, God. Alright, it's better, but it sounds awful. I'm not even gonna, I don't know if I should try that again. It definitely fired up way, way quicker, and I was actually able to rev it there. Last time it took forever for it to start, and I would go full throttle and it'd just be like boom, 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 boom. You guys remember. But that noise was awful. Inside the engine, it was ticking. I didn't hear that when I was turning it over by hand, but I guess once it's up to speed, you can't really hear it at all. But I think the timing's still not right, but it's definitely better. So thanks to you guys. Now we definitely know that the issue is the timing, because it just probably would have ran for a while if I didn't cut it off because of that noise. I might try one more time just to see if it'll do it. I'm sure it will, but it could be maybe the timing chain or something against the tensioner. I don't know, but I'm gonna just send it and just fire it up real quick. Ooh, God, ooh. That is so cringy. I'm not running it again like that. That is awful. So I'm really happy that it at least fires up now, and that issue is now narrowed down to the timing. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is retime it once again, because I'm probably off by just like a couple teeth, like 1 or 2. But I think just cranking it up like that won't cause any issues at all. But I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and pull off all of these front plastics, which is such a pain to take off because there are a ton of screws. But then I'm gonna have to go ahead and there's a little like window right over here that you can see the markings on the flywheel with, and I need to make sure that when the line for top dead center on the flywheel is there and it's at top dead center, I need to make sure that that little marking that I was showing you guys on the cam and on the head itself is lined up while it's there. And if not, then that's our issue right there. But it is pretty late out right now. As you guys can see, it's completely dark out. So I'm gonna go ahead and carry on to tomorrow, and this thing should be running by tomorrow, because as long as that's just the issue, which I believe it is, due to how much better it's running now, then we should be riding this tomorrow, which I'm really pumped to do. So I'll see you guys then. So guys, we are back here the next day, and as I said last night, I do want to try and ride it today and get it running right. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take off all of these screws. I'm really hoping that none of them round out, because I never have luck with Phillips, but I think I got the right bit for it, so I don't think we should have a problem there. But these ones are definitely going to round out, but luckily there's some 8mm nuts on the bottom of those screws. Those shouldn't round out. But once I get all this plastic out of the way, I'll be able to access the side here where I can see the markings on the flywheel, and then we can make sure that the top dead center mark is going to line up with the camshaft mark. So let's go ahead and get started with that right now. Alrighty guys, so I was able to take out all of these all came out, no issue. But on the other hand, I was only able to get these two, and these two are both stripping on both the Phillips screw size and both the nut on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is probably just drill them out, and that shouldn't be an issue. Sweet. I definitely should have done this in the first place when I first started rebuilding this. This is way more access than I thought I was gonna have. But now that we're here, I believe, I'm not exactly sure that this is the window right here. I might just try and like screw it out and see what happens. And then I think you can unscrew this to turn over the engine. I'm not 100% sure though, but there's only one way to find out. So I'm gonna start screwing that out and see what happens. Okay, it's coming out. Ah, yep. Alright, so now I'm gonna take this 19mm socket and rotate the engine until I see the marking. There's an H, there's a dot, another dot. I don't see any like TDC sign anywhere, unless the H stands for high or the dot stand for something. So I don't think I need to take off the entire flywheel cover, because there's a reason that they put that there for easy accessibility to find the marking. So I'm gonna go ahead and just search it up real quick and see which sign on the flywheel means top dead center and where it should be timed at, and then I'll see if there's a marking anywhere that the flywheel needs to be maybe like completely upright, or maybe the H or dot whatever needs to be in that little hole. So I'm just gonna Google it real quick, and I'll catch you guys back once I find an answer. So I just found the answer online, and when I was turning it over, I didn't even see the little mark that it has in there, that little mark right there, and that needs to line up with the eye that's in there. So I just need to rotate a little bit more, but I just tested it and the engine is at top dead center. So now I'm really curious to see when I take off the cam cover how far off the timing was. So I'm gonna pop off the gas tank and the seat real quick, and then we shall see how off I was. Here we go. I'm really excited to see how much I messed this up. So if the dot on the cam is facing directly up, then it's right, and there's another issue. If it's not, then it is timed wrong, and that is the issue. All right, here we go. Let's see. I think I'm literally off by 1 tooth. So it is just missing the mark. So I'm gonna move it to the left 1 little tooth and see if that makes the difference. So guys, the engine is timed perfectly. It is perfectly upright while the engine is at top dead center. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw on that plate, tighten up the chain, put on everything once again, and once again, fire it up, and hopefully it doesn't sound like a ticking time bomb. So as I was just getting ready to reassemble, I went ahead and decided to check the valves real quick, and they are insanely tight So I'm going to loosen them up and then tighten them down to spec. I believe this is 5 thousandths and this is 6 thousandths. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'm going to put everything back on and fire it up. Perfect and good. So everything is back onto the quad to make it run. I didn't bother just bolting on, you know, the little footrest, just in case I need to go ahead and retime it, which I pray I don't. This thing is 100%, I know, is in time right, and you guys saw the valves were just clearanced, and those are all good to go as well. So I don't see why this thing shouldn't run and should make that awful noise that we were hearing before. But let's just find out and see if it worked. Gas is on. Attempt number 2, or 3 or 4, I don't even remember anymore. But here we go. Actually, you know what? Before I fire it up, again, I'm gonna double check the oil, because we did leak out some when this thing blew up. Oh yeah, it's got oil. Alright, here we go. Sounds like a timing chain. It doesn't sound like it's anything mechanical. It sounds like the timing chain maybe is dry, or for whatever reason, maybe it just needs to get some oil through it. But I'm gonna just send it, because I know it's timed right. I know that the valves are in clearance. As I just said before, that sounds like the timing chain because I can hear it. So I'm just gonna let it run. I'm probably gonna back it out, and if it blows up, it blows up. Jesus. So the quad is running and riding, it's making that noise and it won't idle. And when I did the top end rebuild, I replaced all the gaskets and, well, she just blew a head gasket. I don't know if you guys could tell. Yeah, there's some oil right there and all up in there. I've never had an issue doing a rebuild like this ever on anything I've ever done.
2 hours later.
Alright guys, so it is a little bit while later from the last clip, and I just got a little bit flustered before, like, trying to figure out everything. But I just started messing around with it a little bit more, and I just popped off the gas tank, and I double checked the head bolts and everything, and those are all perfectly fine. I mean, they were a little bit loose, so I just snugged those all up a little bit, and I also dried all of the oil on the bottom over here, because there was a pond. And then I checked the oil, but we were still good. And then along with that, I also got it to idle now. So I'm gonna go ahead, pop on the gas tank, and I'm gonna check for an oil leak once again, because I'm pretty sure I blew the cylinder gasket somehow, even though it's brand new. So I don't know how that happens. I mean, I cleaned the surface and everything too, but I don't know, maybe it just didn't, maybe it's just a faulty gasket. But like I just said, I'm just gonna throw on the gas tank and see it real quick, and I'll show you guys how it's running. So I have everything back on, and before I was actually doing some heat cycles with it to maybe, you know, seat the piston rings a little bit. And I did 3 cycles, and now it should be good. I mean, when it first started up, I was revving it, but I wasn't revving it a lot. I was just trying to keep it alive because it wouldn't idle. But it has to be started in a couple hours, so let's see if it fires up. And there we go. Oh, never mind. Need some gas. So, I mean, it's running pretty good. It still has that little bit of a tick, but I am almost certain that it's the timing chain. Alright, so I just cut it off real quick because it is insanely loud. The exhaust isn't completely bolted up. I think that's probably why. And I did that just in case I need to take apart the engine once again. But I'm pretty sure that that is just the timing chain ticking. Now, I don't know if that's because it wasn't, like, ran for a little bit and the timing chain got dry or for whatever reason, and it's kind of loud against the tensioner. It never really made that noise ever when I had it and it was running good. So I'm just gonna let it run how it is, and maybe it'll lubricate itself up. And if not, then I'm gonna have to investigate. But just from running it, I'm not seeing any more oil buildup over there. I mean, over here was a huge lake. I mean, you can still see some residue from it, but I'm gonna start it up once again and keep my eye on that. I'm seeing some spraying. Somewhere over here. Oh, no way. Oh, yes! Alright, so I'm pretty sure it's not a cylinder gasket. I'm seeing it spray out of the bottom of the tensioner right below there. Oh yeah, it's definitely the tensioning gasket. Woo! I'm so pumped now. I was watching that, lower cylinder gasket for a while. I'm like, wow, I guess, just tensioning up those little head bolts really worked. But then I saw it squirting out the side, and that is just the tensioner. So I'm pumped on that. The tensioner might be giving us all these issues. The ticking, the oil. I mean, it's running good too. It's not like, it doesn't seem like a mechanical issue. It's just small little things that make it seem like it's not running right. But it sounds so different. Like, I don't have the exhaust bolted up fully, but all the air is flowing out. I don't hear any exhaust leaking out from the exhaust port. Like, it sounds like it has insane compression because it's like boom, 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 boom. So I don't know what's up with that, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and replace that tensioner gasket. I don't believe I have any. I'm gonna go check though, because when I first rebuilt this, I bought the whole entire top end kit. All right, I'm not seeing anything. This is the only thing I have in there. But I mean, I just gotta order that quick, and then I gotta put it on. I know that those bolts are tightened up because I just remember tightening them. I'm so pumped on that. So even though it's not 100% as it is right now, because it's ticking and it's squirting oil out, I believe both those issues are from the tensioner, because I took that in and out probably 9 or 10 times just from constantly retiming it and adjusting the valves and doing anything I can. But my main goal for the end of this video was getting it running and riding, and it runs good, but it doesn't sound that great, but it's healthy, I think, and I can ride it. So I'm not gonna ride it because it's squirting out oil, but if it wasn't, then I think I'd be ready for the track. But anyway guys, I'm going to be ending the video here. Stay tuned for more videos with the motorcycle engine swap into the half-scale NASCAR. We got to get that thing running still. I'm looking for new carburetors for it because the ones on there right here are completely shot. Everything is frozen on it and most of the screws are just rounding out. But once we get that on and I get new spark plugs for it, and a lot of you guys are saying that the cylinders might be shot, and a lot of you guys were suggesting to put automatic transmission fluid into the cylinders, so I might do that. And a lot of you guys have been asking where the RM125 is. I still have it. It's just sitting in the shed. I still haven't been able to get to the track yet because it is a bit of a drive, but I promise you it will be coming. And hopefully I don't have a video coming out that the quad blew up again, but I think it's good to go. Just that ticking is sketching me out, but I'm almost certain that it's the timing chain. But anyway, follow my social medias. That will be on the outro of this video. Instagram and Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends about the channel.